breaking down the Vikings from the perspective of a former NFL General Manager of the Year. It's Jeff Diamond's Purple Report, presented by your select Minnesota Buick GMC dealers.
Welcome to Jeff Diamond's Purple Report, brought to you every Monday and Thursday during the Vikings season by your select Minnesota Buick GMC dealers in the 2024 GMC Sierra on 1500 ESPN, available 24/7 on YouTube via links from the 1500 ESPN Score North websites. I'm Jeff Diamond, former Vikings GM, former Tennessee Titans president. Those two teams met yesterday, and our producer Sam Bird does a great job putting our show together. And Sam, my former two teams went at it, and the Purple Gang emerged victorious, which I was happy to see. As I told you last Thursday, my purple blood runs deeper than my Columbia blue blood by far.
Good.
Based on 23 years working for the Vikings and growing up here versus 5 years running the Titans as the team president. But a interesting game, shall we say, and tough game. Vikings had to battle through that difficult Titans front on defense, and hard to run the ball against Tennessee, and the Vikings battled in that game. But I think the best news out of the game for the Vikings and for Viking fans, Sam Darnold has returned to his fine form from early in the season. I thought he played an excellent game. He showed his athleticism, stepping up so many times and scrambling away from pressure. So many big plays he made down the field, kept his eyes down the field, didn't force balls, really didn't have any that I can recall that were close to being intercepted in this game.
Yep.
I think that's a great sign going forward for Sam Darnold, for Kevin O'Connell, for the Vikings. And O'Connell talked about it again in his press conference today, talking about the game. After looking at the tape, he said he was even more impressed with Darnold's performance, having seen how well he played to escape the pressure and make big plays down the field. He threw for 246 yards in the game and 2 touchdowns. Also had a touchdown run on the quarterback sneak, had 3 conversions on quarterback sneaks in the game. And he should have had another 46 yards if Jalen Naylor doesn't drop that ball that's right in his arms.
No kidding.
Now, he had some guys hanging on him, yeah, but he had a clear shot at that pass, and that would have been a touchdown that would have been certainly kind of a game clincher in the fourth quarter. But you got to be impressed with Sam Darnold's performance, Sam.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only did Darnold do great, but I think, all around, this team is performing where we thought they should be performing after these last 3 games. There's no easy games in the NFL, but you can call it the softer part of their schedule, and they're 3-0 so far, and they're 2-0 on the road of this 2 of 3 games in a row on the road, and they're going to have a pretty interesting division matchup coming up here. But the Vikings are doing better than expected, and they're performing where we expected them to be with this. And again, you can use air quotes, the softer part of the schedule so far.
Yeah, definitely true. And of course, the defense had kind of an up and down day. Certainly the edge rushers performed great. And talking about Andrew Van Ginkel and Pat Jones, 2 sacks each. Van Ginkel had a terrific game, had a couple quarterback hits, 3 tackles for loss. The guy's playing at a Pro Bowl level, and it's just a great game for him. I saw a stat today that he is one of 3 players in NFL history to have 8 sacks and 2 interception returns for touchdowns in the same season.
Wow.
And we're only halfway basically through the season. There's still 7 games to go. Well, a little more than halfway. But Andrew Van Ginkel having a great year, kind of led the charge on defense. And we know that Grenard's having a terrific year too. Pat Jones, who had a little bit disappeared as far as statistically, he hadn't had a sack since week 4. And then he goes out and has 2 sacks and a number of pressures on the quarterback and played a great game. So I think if they can continue to light that fire under him, or he helps light the fire himself in a contract year, that's a really good sign too. So a lot of good things happened in the game. Let's go to our highlights, and these are courtesy of CBS. First quarter, early on, the only miscue of the day really on offense was this pitch from Darnold to Aaron Jones, and the only turnover of the day for Minnesota.
Yep, I have this one listed as a Jones fumble, by the way. Even though Darnold got credited with the fumble, this was a Jones fumble.
I agree.
Yeah.
This was on Aaron Jones. If the ball hits your hands,
yep,
then you need to catch it.
That's right.
Exactly what that defense gave him and picking up big yards. Football comes loose, live ball. Aaron Jones, boy, looked like he had control. Then it popped out again. No signal yet. Now they say Tennessee football.
Yeah, Kevin O'Connell not happy with that one. Second time it's happened this year, and he said, we got to fix that, which he's correct. Can't do that when you get into the playoffs, which, by the way, the Vikings are listed today as having a 95% chance to make the playoffs.
We'll take that.
Which is pretty nice when you're 8-2 and one game behind the Lions, who crushed Jacksonville 52-6, maintained their one game lead over the Packers, and in very good shape for a wild card, regardless of whether they're going to catch Detroit, which I don't think they're going to do. But you never know, because the Lions, they have a kind of a tricky game this week at Indianapolis. The Colts coming off a big win over the Jets in New York, and Anthony Richardson reclaimed his starting job. So in the NFL, anything can happen, but I'm not going to proclaim that the Colts are going to knock off the Lions, but they are in Indy, so there's a possibility. We'll see.
I was going to say, are we hearing it first here that you're picking the Colts?
No, I'm not. I am not doing that.
All right.
So first quarter continues, and as I said, Darnold, the rest of the game, no interceptions after throwing 5 the last 2 games, no turnovers. And you get later in the first quarter, and he hits Jordan Addison on this 47-yard touchdown, a beauty.
And as defensive coordinator Darnold Wilson really liked this kid Brownlee, a rookie, young man they took with the 5th-round pick out of Louisville. What a moment here. Boy, they nearly get to Darnold as he hits his man wide open. It's Addison. Addison, touchdown.
And Jordan showed his speed on the play, and notice also Josh Oliver pushing aside the blitzer that's coming on the play, which frees up Addison in single coverage and kind of the middle part of the zone. So a big play, got the Vikings the lead at that point, 7-3. Getting into the second quarter, and the Vikings on a long drive, and in this game, the Titans really killed themselves with penalties so many times. On this particular drive, second quarter, they had 3 penalties that gave the Vikings first downs, including a 4th down sneak by Darnold that was stopped by the rookie Sweat, but he's called for lining up, whether it was in the neutral zone or offside. He's called on the play, and the Vikings kept the drive alive. And then later, there's a 4th down play, and what looked like, I thought, a kind of a clean hit by Mike Brown hits Addison in the chest. Might have launched himself a little bit, but certainly didn't hit him with his head. And it's on a 4th down play, and it got called for roughing, which the incompletion overturned and kept the drive alive, and ends up in this 1-yard quarterback sneak by Sam Darnold.
So close and fine-lined that you'd like to see him throw, and we see Darnold go in for the touchdown there, guys. You'd like to see the official throw and maybe replay come in and take them off of that foul after they've thrown it.
Coach Callahan going berserk on the Tennessee sideline, but to no avail. And as we've said, the Vikings have gotten their share of bad calls this year too. And Darnold getting hit in the head in Indianapolis on a fumble that was returned for a touchdown. They won that game. Gets the face mask against the Rams on the safety that ends that game that they didn't call the face mask, which was ridiculous. So I think the Vikings were due to get maybe this break in this situation. But so many of the other calls were definitely warranted. Jefferson drew several pass interference and illegal contact calls that kept drives alive. Tennessee had 7 penalties that resulted in first downs for the Vikings in this game, which was the highest in the league this year. So the Titans, there's a reason they're 2-8, and that's
right.
part of the reason too. So going into towards the halftime, I mentioned before Andrew Van Ginkel, and he sacks Will Levis here on a 3rd and 15. It was the second of consecutive plays with a sack.
In free agency, reunited with Brian Flores, whom he played for in Miami. A couple of pick sixes, his 7th sack of the season. Levis again. Van Ginkel again. Andrew Van Ginkel wreaking havoc.
Tremendous game for Van Ginkel. He now has 8 sacks, a career high, and ranks 5th in the league in sacks. And having just a tremendous year. Vikings leading 16-3 at the half, have outgained the Titans 192-86 in the first half, dominating the game and dominating the scoreboard 16-3. Things start to turn in the second half. Before we get to that, we're going to talk about our great sponsor, the Select Minnesota Buick GMC dealers. There are trucks, then there's the truck, GMC Sierra, with available features like the V8 engine, the ultimate luxury interior, and of course, the available world's first 6-function multi-pro tailgate. GMC Sierra, not just any truck, the truck. GMC's continued commitment to professional-grade engineering is on full display at your Select Minnesota GMC dealers. Stop by and choose from our wide selection of colors, models, and trim levels. Our friendly sales professionals are ready to work with you, so you drive home happy with not just any deal, the deal. So come take a test drive today. We are professional-grade GMC. Well-qualified buyers will get 0% APR on 2024 GMC Sierra light-duty models. See your Select Minnesota GMC dealers today. Length of contract limited. Some customers will not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 12/2/24. So on we go into the second half highlights. And the Vikings have the Titans backed up on the 2-yard line after a fantastic play by Sherfield to down a punt on the almost the goal line. Will Levis, it's 3rd and 11 in this particular situation, or 3rd and 10.
Mm-hmm.
And here's a play that just can't happen.
I was going to say, is this even really a highlight?
Cannot
Jeff?
happen. 90.
And now you got Jonathan Grenard, one of the better pass rushers in the league, going to work on 3rd down.
Levis taking a shot. He's got Westbrook Akine breaking free. And the Tennessee Titans right back in it.
Yeah, they gave him life right back in it. Josh Metellus just took a really bad angle on that play. I don't know where the corners were. Metellus is a safety. Just whether it was a blitz situation, and Titans did a good job picking it up, and Levis made a great throw on the play. The guy's got a good arm. Doesn't always make the best decisions, but he made a great throw in this situation. And all of a sudden, shockingly,
right.
it's 16-10.
It's never easy, Jeff, with this team.
It's like nothing's easy in the NFL. As Harrison Smith said after the game, there are no easy buckets.
That's right.
And that was the case on Sunday in Tennessee. The Vikings admirably, and I thought this was the most critical drive of the game, respond immediately with a excellent drive that started with a 25-yard pass from Darnold to Jefferson. The Vikings go down the field on this drive in 7 plays, 65 yards. And here's another key play by Jefferson on the drive where he catches a 10-yard ball down to the 3-yard line. And the guy's just got such great hands. Mm-hmm. We take it for granted, but he just snatches this one out of the air.
Really started to heat up here in the second half. They need much more of that.
Darnold this time protected over the middle. Jefferson.
That's not an easy catch, folks. He's reaching up high, and he's got to pull it into his body before he gets hit. A great play by Justin Jefferson. Had another stellar game, 6 catches, 81 yards. Made another milestone in his career. He passed Torrey Holt as the player with the most receiving yards in his first 5 years of his NFL career, over 6,800 yards at this point. And Jefferson with the big play there gets them down to the 3-yard line. Very next play, it's Darnold to Cam Akers.
This will be the 7th play of the drive. 1st and goal. Or maybe a little miscommunication. He completes nonetheless. Akers, and he's in for the Minnesota touchdown.
Cam Akers, kind of an under-the-radar pickup around the trade deadline by the Vikings, and he's playing well as that number 2 back behind Aaron Jones and moved ahead of Ty Chandler. Chandler, to his credit, had a nice kickoff return in this game, which actually began that drive, the drive that answered the 98-yard touchdown. Chandler had a 35-yard kickoff return, so that was big to get that good field position in that situation. The Vikings, as they go on in the fourth quarter, that was a big touchdown, put them back up by 10. And mid-fourth quarter, it's 4th and 4 for Tennessee, driving, trying to get back in the game, trying to make it a one-score game. And here's Pat Jones, we mentioned him before, 2-sack day, and he sacks Levis on 4th and 4.
With one safety back in the middle of the field. Here we go, Levis. Levis going down.
And then one more drive for Tennessee. Harrison Smith playing in his home state of Tennessee, even though I think he was born in Georgia, but grew up in Knoxville. And Harrison Smith with an interception to seal the deal for the Vikings.
Looks like it's going to be a happy ending for these Minnesota Viking fans that have made the trek. One last gasp here for Will Levis and company as they begin at their own 16-yard line. Down 10, Levis going to take his shot here, throwing into triple coverage, and it is picked by Harrison Smith.
Harrison having a really good year, making more plays, big plays than he did last season, perhaps, but certainly one of the glues to that defense and that secondary. So the Vikings get the win, 23-13. Could have been a bigger margin of victory, but final analysis, who cares?
Right.
They win, and for those who care about that, they covered the spread.
That's right. Well,
so whatever.
Most importantly, Jeff, you and I tiptoed around this score because I had them winning 20-10 when we predicted this. So I was pretty close. I had the 10-point margin. You got the Vikings score right. If I remember correctly, you had it 23-17.
I did.
Yep.
Yeah. So I had the 23 points right. I just gave the Titans a little too much credit.
We can take our victory lap for this one for sure.
Exactly. And so the Vikings stay one game back on Detroit, as we said, crushed Jacksonville. Vikings 8-2, having a terrific season. But the Lions are 9-1 on an 8-game heater, and we'll see if they can handle the Colts in Indy this weekend. Let's hear from some of the principals involved. Kevin O'Connell, first of all, in the locker room after the game, talking about the win, and then turning it over to Brian O'Neill. The tackle's having a fantastic year. Kevin actually talked about O'Neill in his press conference today, said he's having perhaps his best season. I don't think he's given up a sack this year, maybe very few pressures at all, and another big day for Brian O'Neill too. But here's O'Connell in the locker room.
You guys are in a nice little rhythm right now. All right, understanding when I do give you Mondays, all right, people are in working. People are in getting that recovery because we're getting into the grind now. All right, middle of November, pushing forward. All right, everything is out in front of us. Everything we want as a team is out in front of us. But it's right at this moment where you got to decide, what else can I do? Can I do a little bit more? You're going to get everything you got out of me and this coaching staff. And my expectation is I got the right guys in this room. I love this team. I love where we're at. Let's go hunting right back in the division next week, boys. B.O., you got them.
They're hunting the Chicago Bears.
That's right.
Next week in the division. That's right. And the Bears had another crushing loss. They've had a couple of just heart-wrenching ones, going back to the Hail Mary at Washington a couple weeks back. And then this week, they were in a fourth down situation at the end of the game against Green Bay at home. Caleb Williams converts it to Roman Odunze, the other fellow rookie. They get into field goal range, And then they get a 46-yard field goal by Santos, blocked by the Packers.
No kidding.
So just a crusher for the Bears. Now they're 4-6 after starting out 4-2. Very promising start to the season. We'll see how they respond this week. I think the team is kind of a mess, with the coach is probably on his way out and fired the offensive coordinator before last game. And it's just going to be a really interesting matchup. It's never easy in Chicago. Soldier Field, be a fun game coming up on Sunday for the Vikings and the Bears. Kevin O'Connell also talking at his post-game press conference about the progress the team's made and heading to a tough place to go play.
I knew it was going to be a tough, hard-fought game, especially against their defensive side. I was proud of the way we kind of responded whenever it seemed like they did make a play against our defense. Obviously, the big one over the top when they were backed up. That possession really could have swung the whole game right there. But I was just proud of the way we played relatively clean. I know we had the early turnover, which was frustrating because those types of things can't happen. But I thought Sam Darnold played really well. I thought, to close it out with another turnover to break even in that department was really important. And then the turnover on downs, making it hard there in the second half. Thought we had some other opportunities to maybe put the game away, tried to stay aggressive and one down there to Speedy, but he'll make that play. Total confidence and trust in him. And now we've got to continue to build on another road challenge next week against a good Bears team that's going to be a tough place to go play.
It is going to be a tough place to go play. We know that. And the Vikings split with the Bears last year. Actually, both road teams won the games. And in 2022, O'Connell's first season, the Vikings swept the Bears. So he is 3-1 against Eberflus and Chicago heading into Soldier Field. The teams will have a rematch in December on a Monday night here in Minnesota at US Bank Stadium. Just a couple other things. In that game, the Vikings defense holds Tennessee to 33 yards rushing, now ranked first in the league in run defense.
Yep.
The defense overall ranks 10th, and they had 5 sacks to boost their season total to 35, which is 4th most in the league. So a lot of impressive defensive statistics by Brian Flores' team, but they've got to clean up some of those issues in the back end with the Titans able to hit a couple big plays. Shaq Griffin got beat on a 33-yarder. As we said, Metellus on the 98-yard play. They got to play better, tighter coverage on those situations, which they have most of the year. Just had some breakdowns in this game. And as they prepare to face Caleb Williams, certainly the matchup will favor the Vikings in terms of the pass rush situation. The Bears have allowed 41 sacks this year, which is second most in the league. Williams was sacked 9 times when they were upset by the Patriots 2 weeks ago at home. In the Packer game, the Packers only had 3 sacks, but still put pressure on Caleb Williams. And the Vikings, as we said, one of the best sacking teams in the league. So that certainly is an advantage for Minnesota going to that game. Plus, they bring the number 1 rush defense into the game against the Bears rushing offense that ranks 22nd. We're going to break that game down on Thursday as we preview it. Sam Darnold, as we said, had an excellent game. Really impressive the way he was able to scramble away from pressure. The offensive line played very so-so, I think, in this game, and they started Dalton Reisner at right guard in place of Ed Ingram. O'Connell said Reisner played okay. He played pretty well for his first start, but it was difficult going against that Tennessee defensive front. Jeffrey Simmons is a Pro Bowler. Sweat, their first-round pick, is a giant at defensive tackle. So it was no easy going for Dalton Reisner his first start. He did okay. We'll see if he continues to hold off Ed Ingram for that right guard spot. But here's Sam Darnold talking post-game in the locker room.
Yeah, obviously, really exciting win. For us as an offense, early mistake with the fumble, but I felt like we bounced back really well with that. And I thought our defense, special teams played really well. And, Yeah, it was nice to be able to just kind of move the ball up and down the field, and kind of got stalled a little bit in the second half. But I feel like when we moved the ball and we were able to get into the red zone, we weren't turning the ball over. We were able to turn those into points. And, that was huge for us today. And, just really proud of the guys in the locker room.
We're going to hear from Justin Jefferson in a second and Andrew Van Ginkel and review some of the other games around the NFL from this past weekend. But first, let's hear from our great sponsor, the Select Minnesota Buick GMC dealers.
There are trucks, then there's the truck, GMC Sierra, with available features like the V8 engine, the ultimate luxury interior, and of course, the available world's first 6-function multi-pro tailgate. GMC Sierra, not just any truck, the truck. GMC's continued commitment to professional-grade engineering is on full display at your local GMC dealer. Come take a test drive today and see for yourself. We are professional-grade. GMC. Well-qualified buyers get 1.9% APR for 36 months on GMC Sierra light-duty models. See your local GMC dealer today. Monthly payment is $28.16 for every $1,000 you finance. Average example down payment 15%. Some customers will not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 9/30/24.
Justin Jefferson, as we said, a historic day, has the most receiving yards of any NFL player in history in their first 5 seasons. 6,811 yards. Still has 7 games left to pad that number. And he also ranks second in the league with 912 receiving yards this season, second to his college teammate at LSU, Jamar Chase. Here's Justin postgame.
Oh, it feels great. Feels phenomenal. Didn't feel like this. 3 years ago, 2 years ago, something like that. So it's definitely great to be on this side of things, and just like I said, we definitely have room to improve and things to do better on. So we're 8-2 right now is great, but going into these next few games and of course leading into playoffs, we got to change a little bit of things around.
If you do that and you guys put it all together, like how good do you think you guys can be?
Oh, wonderful. If our defense is doing great and forcing turnovers and getting us the ball back, we're getting the ball back and scoring off of those turnovers, and just the whole entire game just dominated. I feel like a lot of people wouldn't be able to compete, with the different guys that we have on this team. So, we're waiting for that day that we all put it together for sure.
That Vikings defense, as Justin mentioned, leads the league in takeaways with 21, leads the league in interceptions with 16. Andrew Van Ginkel, a big part of that defense, great free agent signing this offseason. Here's Andrew Van Ginkel talking about figuring out how to win every week.
Yeah, KO mentioned that, and every week we kind of figure out who we are. And, we're, resilient, we're connected, we're a bunch of just tough, gritty dudes that, come in every day, blue collar, just want to get better. And, Flo expects that of us, and he's got a high standard, and we're trying to be the best defense and, play for the guy next to us. We don't know who's going to make the play, but we got so many guys that are productive ball players and ball hawks. So it's fun coming into, every week it changes, and it's fun to see that.
And they'll bring that ball-hawking defense to Soldier Field on Sunday against the Bears. Around the NFL, Buffalo last night ended Kansas City's unbeaten season as we predicted.
Such a great game.
It was a great game, and ends their 15-game winning streak going back to last season, 30-21. Josh Allen's 26 yards touchdown run with a couple minutes remaining clinched the game. Other big games, the Steelers pull off their 8th win in the last 9 meetings with Baltimore with an 18-16 win that came down to Lamar Jackson not converting on a 2-point attempt at the end of the game. Other big games, Denver kind of quietly boosting their wild card hopes, crushing Atlanta. The Falcons' defense is kind of a mess. The Vikings will see them in about 3 weeks and see their old friend Kirk Cousins here. Kirk did not have a good game against the Broncos' defense. Other big games, the Chargers held off a big Bengals rally. Justin Herbert led them down the field. That was a great shootout between he and Joe Burrow. So a lot of exciting things happening. Big games coming up this weekend. We're going to break it all down on Thursday as we preview the Vikings and the Bears and other big matchups around the league. This has been Jeff Diamond's Purple Report, brought to you every Monday and Thursday during the Viking season by your select Minnesota Buick GMC dealers and the 2024 GMC Sierra on 1500 ESPN, available 24/7 on YouTube via links from the 1500 ESPN and Score North websites. This is Jeff Diamond with Sam Bird, and we will talk to you on Thursday to preview the Vikings and the Bears.